Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sachinandan Datto and I'll discuss in this lecture about the marine bioresources. So few fact about the marine resources or why the marine ecosystem is too much important to us. As we all know that 1/3% of the earth's surface is covered by the ocean and almost 97% of the earth's surface water is from covered by also ocean, and that ocean represent 99% of living space to the planet. So all the living space means 99% of the biological resources almost we are finding from the marine ecosystem. And over 3 billion peoples 3 billion peoples depend directly or indirectly on the marine and coastal biodiversity for their livelihood. And it is also economically huge important. Its total market value of the marine and the coastal bioresources industry almost 3 trillion toll per year, 3 trillion US dollar per year, and it about almost 5% of the global GDP. And ocean contain nearly 200,000 identified species, but this number is very low, as till now we are not don't know that what is the species belongs in the below the sea or the in the deep of the ocean. Each regularly the new species are discovered from the below the ocean, so the total number may be a million. So a lot to be discovered, lot to become from the ocean. And ocean absorbed almost 30% of the global CO2, and it's also act as a sink, and it also buffering our global impacts on the global climate change or global warming. And ocean also serve the world largest source of the protein. Almost 3 billion people depend upon their primary source of the protein from the ocean as a fish, and also the algae and other marine product, biological product is also consumed, to meet the need of the protein. And marine fishery directly or indirectly its employment of almost 200 million people directly or indirectly employed through the marine fishery sector. And subsidies is one of the bad thing, and subsidies of the fishing contribute rapid depletion of the many species due to subsidies. So the fishermen are going to fish a lot, and then the fish species are depleting, and it's preventing the effort to save or restore the global fishery. It is also preventing we are want to restore it, but the subsidies is preventing it. And ocean fisheries to generate almost US dollar 50 billion less due to these subsidies. And as much 40% of the world ocean heavily affected by the anthropogenic activities. This includes pollution, then the degradation, then the depletion of fisheries, overexploitation, as I have already discussed about the threats of the marine ecosystem in my previous lecture. Now why we are caring about ocean, and what the thing that it's make the sustainable. So I have talked about it that almost 61% of the world total economy and coming from the 100-kilometer coastline, and also the 60% of the total global population is also lived within the 100-kilometer of the coastline. And from the ocean we are getting a huge economic value from the different sector, like marine tourism is giving the highest percentage. It's almost giving us the 161 billion US dollar benefited from this marine tourism. And global economy benefited from the marine fisheries almost 80 billion dollar, and aquaculture gives us $57 billion. It's a huge amount that we are getting from the marine resources. Now what the challenges? I have talked about it again. I'm talking that overfishing, that is the main thing. First challenges of the marine depletion of the marine resources, that is the overfishing. And we are harvesting a lot, and that is also degrading the marine ecosystem as well as the marine biological resources, and its entire the ecosystem, whole ecosystem is depleted. And as a result, the overall ecological unity of our ocean and under stress, and it has also high risks of the collapse in near future. And we are in the risks of the losing very vulnerable source of the protein, as I have already told that 60% source of protein, or 60 billion people are depend for their protein directly from the ocean. So we are losing a very vulnerable source of our food, and as well as the protein source. So loss of habitat, so marine ecosystem are experiencing the high rate of habitat degradation due to the development in the coastal region, due to the development in the ocean, due to lots of activities, human activities. So we are losing or degrading the marine ecosystem, and this process considered as a critical threat to our marine biological diversity. Due to the habitat degradation, we are losing lots of species. And second only to after the overfishing, the next cause of depletion of the marine biological resources is the loss of habitat. And approximately 20% of the world coral reef already we lost, and we have lost 20% coral reef due to this ocean acidification, due to global climate change, due to the increasing in the SST, surface temperature. So coral reef is a very sensitive species. If you change a little bit, they will gone. So due to these changes, the coral bleaching is gone, and in recent centuries we have already degraded 20% more. And overall 35% of mangrove area is also depleting due to these anthropogenic activities and other causes. Invasive species means any foreign species or invasive species. Due to invasive species is also harmful to the environment, as well as the industry, social and recreation and economy, and it's a lost, it getting a very bad impact to the any kind of ecosystem, not only the marine. So unsustainable fisheries. So fisheries sector is the main biological resources. So fish is the main biological resources we're getting from the ocean. So that how we can make this fisheries sustainability, that is our main objective. So unsustainable fisheries, why? Because overcapacity, because we are using a lot big nowadays, technology is improved, number of boats improve, and the capacity of the boat is improved. So the oversized fishing fleet, they are coming and they are taking lots of the sources or resources from the ocean, and that due to this over capacity, the fishery resources getting depleting. Unsustainable fishing methods, like I have talked that different, we'll talk different fishing methods, but main thing is that bottom trawling is one of the unsustainable fishing method. Due to this, we are losing the biological resource, as well as the marine habitat, and also the loss of the other species as a bycatch. So an unselected fishing practice gear, so we are try to catch one species, but along with this species, untarget or means required species is also caught in this net. So that is the cause of destruction of the non-targeted species, and that is called that bycatch. So bycatch and discard is main thing that are coming from the bottom trawling. Bottom trawling is main effect that happen due to bottom trawling. Bycatch and discard is percentage is very high. Now what we can do, and how we can protect our ocean ecosystem. So first thing, that the implementation, that is the key word. We know that there is a lots of law regulation is everywhere. The globally is also, we have a UNCLOS, the United Nations laws of the seas, and each and every countries have lots of law and regulation to control and to manage and to sustain and to conserve the ocean ecosystem. But the laws are in the policy books or in written, but there is no implementation. Implementation is the key word that needs to be much more protected, much more gives us to protect our ocean system. And eliminating any harmful subsidies. So I have talked about the subsidies is giving cause of depletion of marine biological resources as well as the fisheries. So eliminating the subsidies, and that is the single greatest action can be taken to protect the ocean. and then we have to implement the POW action plan, and that is the eliminating illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. So IUU, and implement POW action plan for management of the fishing capacity. Then we can eliminate the subsidy that I have told again and again, and maintain the restored depleted fish stock. So lots of the fish stock is already depleted, global fisheries, and we have to maintain the stock and restore which the stock is already depleted. And we have to check our maximum sustainable yield on an urgent basis to check or to restore the depleted stock, and encourage the applications of ecosystem approach. That is a very good approach. So rather we are going for a single species or multi-species management, if we go to the whole ecosystem approach, that will be much more better. And promoting the integrated coastal and ocean management law, regulation and ocean management system, and advance in implementation of the global program on the action of protection of the marine environment from the land-based activities, because from the land activities that is impacted the marine system a lot, because all the pollutions is also reaching to ocean from the land. And the biggest challenges to conserve, how we can conserve the marine, and the first thing, that is the ecosystem based approach. I have again told you that the ecosystem based approach, that is the main thing, that this approach is the very recently and scientific to make the marine sustainable, and also the sustainable use of biological resources or any kind of resources from the marine environment, and also the minimize the environmental consequences of human activities. So due to the anthropogenic activities, and we are try to minimize its environmental consequences of human activities. And for this sustainable development goal, United Nations sustainable development goal number 14, that is the life below water, and there is a lots of goal is already stated, and already we are reaching some goals and we are not reaching. So there is almost 7. So 2025 our target is the prevent or significance reduce marine pollution, and 2020 sustain it's going on now, the sustainable managing the protected area and coastal ecosystem, avoid significant adverse impact, and minimize the address of impact of ocean acidification. I have already talked about ocean acidification impact, enhance the scientific cooperation on all level. 2020 the regulate harvesting and end of overfishing, and that IUU, that POW, illegal, unprotected and unregulated fishing. And 2020 conserved at least 10% of the coastal or marine area as a protected area, declare the marine protected area. 2020 marine prohibit certain forms of fishery subsidies, and deplete or eliminate the subsidies. Okay, and 2030 is the increase the small scale developing states and least developed countries to make them much more economic benefits and sustaining of the marine biological resources. So that's all. Thank you.